Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inquirer Live today. I am your host, Damichael Cole, sports culture reporter, and I also focus on style, sneakers, and combat sports. Today, we have some special guests joining us as uh, Students Run Philly Styles Sneakers has a very big announcement to make coming up soon, a very important project they're working on. And we'll be joined by the development of director Danny Burke, artist Allende, and student artist for Student Runs Philly Style, Celeste Ortiz Lugo. So, just some housekeeping things before we get into the details of the show here. If you have any questions, be sure to submit them on inquirer.com/styling profiling live. So that means if you're watching from Facebook or if you're watching from YouTube, you have to go to inquirer.com/styling profiling live to submit questions. So let's bring on our guests here. We have three special guests from Student Runs Philly Style, two of our guests, and then we have Allende, who is a West Philly artist. Let's bring them on. So Danny, how's it going?
How you doing, Damichael? It's good to be here. I know I listened to the first podcast or the show you did and emailed you about what we were doing. So glad we got to talking and we're here now.
Most definitely. Allende, how do you feel?
Feeling good. Glad to be here and glad to talk about this project.
Celeste, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm happy to be here, and I'm thankful for this opportunity.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So let's talk about this project. Reason we gathered here having this conversation is about the Students Runs Philly Style project about this upcoming water stop sneaker. Uh, Danny, I'll start with you as the development, as the director of development for Student Runs Philly Style. Just describe what your role is.
Yeah, absolutely. So at Students Run, I'm in charge of all of our corporate and individual fundraising. And as a nonprofit, we raise all funds for organizations. So it's completely free to students that participate in our program. And with that goes with branding and marketing and how we get our brand out there to the Philly community to support our students and to support youth mentorship. So that's my focus.
Yeah, and this is one of the projects, but describe some of the other projects that Students Runs Philly Style do with the youth and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can give you just a brief history of the organization. So we started in 2004. We're a youth mentorship group, and our core program is a running program. And students spend 10 hours a week with their mentors, and they train to run long distance races in Philadelphia. So the Broad Street Run or the Philadelphia Marathon. In non-pandemic times, our program is 1,500 students and about 300 mentors. So we're in every zip code of Philadelphia. And our mentors, most of them are Philadelphia school teachers. And so they're really the heart of our program and spend time with our youth. When we started in 2004, was kind of to get kids moving and to have the health impacts, but we quickly realized the mentorship impacts were more important than the health impacts and the time that students spend with their mentors and the resiliency it teaches them and the goal setting behaviors it teaches them. And so, that's the basics of our program. We also use that mentorship model for systematic impact with our Mile Up program, with a partnership with the DA's office, the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, and a restorative justice program. So juvenile folks that are involved in the juvenile justice system have a chance to get their record expunged through participating with our program. And lastly, Outpace is a new program we're working on. So we polled our students a few years ago, figured out that 19% identify as LGBTQ+. And so we wanted to have a program specifically tailored to that segment of our population that was inclusive and welcoming for those students.
Yeah, sounds good. So it sounds like a lot of mentoring is going on. You get giving kids an opportunity to, better themselves and just giving them outlets. And that's good to hear. So let's, one of those students is Celeste here joining us today, who is a part of Students Runs Philly Style. Just describe, your role there, Celeste, with the things that you've done with them and the impact it's had on you.
Yeah, I mean, it just started out with me wanting to run, and the nearest team was my sister's, so I joined hers early, and it's been pretty fun. It's actually been a pretty great experience. I think it's been really helpful with just all around, like, helping me grow as a person and also finding other people that I can relate to and that help me through, like, high school and stuff, because I know that starting up high school hasn't been the easiest. So I always knew that I could count on the friends that I'd made there, especially since they went to my school. So yeah, yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And Allende is here joining us. He's an artist from West Philly that's helping out on this project. Allende, just describe you're helping this project as well as some of the other things that you've been working on.
So my role with this was kind of like art director / designer in partnership with Celeste and with Danny. And initially it was just kind of given like a concept, and we had to come up with something very specific to Philadelphia. So, I think we figured something out that the people would like. But in terms of myself, I'm a multidisciplinary artist. I'm working on music, I'm working on murals, other digital design work for people, staying busy.
Yeah, sounds good. So it looks like you guys put together a dream team to make this nice project come together here. And so let's talk about this shoot. I mean, the name of this show is Styling and Profiling. So we're here to talk about the style. We're here to talk about the profile, and we're going to talk about this sneaker here, the Water Stop sneaker. How did the idea of this sneaker come together? I guess that would be for Danny.
Sure, yeah. So shoes and running shoes specifically are obviously central to our Students Run program. And so every student that participates in the program, once they run a certain amount of miles, they'll get a free sneaker. And we're really thankful for our sponsor, Diadora, who is an Italian company, but they actually moved their North American headquarters to South Philadelphia in the Bach building. And so they've really invested in the Philadelphia community, and specifically in the youth running community in Philadelphia. So sneakers have always been a big part of our program and a necessary tool of our program, along with that huge mentorship piece in order to get students to the finish line of Broad Street and all the races that they participate in. And so it was always an idea of Students Run to have a sneaker that we can kind of create. That's a casual sneaker. That's cool. That's branded, that you can put up with. I see you got your Jordan sitting behind you, that we can make something like that we drop every single year and build anticipation like a Jordan. So it looks cool, but it also supports youth mentorship in our program. And so that's kind of the idea of why we came up with a sneaker and why we wanted to create our own. We had some great partners with Diadora that made that happen.
Yeah, and it's important that you just mentioned there about Diadora. Mainly known for its presence, overseas in like European communities, but Diadora has really started to establish itself more in America, and specifically in Philly, as Danny just mentioned. So you'll probably be hearing a lot more about Diadora and some things going on there, especially with this project, which I believe, this is in collaboration with Diadora and the shoe, right, Danny?
Yeah, that's right. And so I remember growing up, I played soccer, and Diadora was a big soccer brand back then in the early 90s and mid 90s. And so I wore their soccer cleats and their shin guards and things like that. And they've grown a lot and are really investing, like I said, in the running community. And we're happy that they're a partner with Students Run. So we're using their casual sneaker. It's called the Game High sneaker to kind of launch our initiative for our Students Run sneaker. And so they're local, like Celeste and Allende, and so we really wanted to create a sneaker that speaks to the Philadelphia community, that is uniquely Philadelphia, and that we can celebrate our youth with and raise money for our program.
Okay. And we keep talking about the sneakers. I know that people are wondering what it looks like, or at least a glimpse of what it looks like. So can we get a photo of here now of what the sneaker? So this is an early photo of potentially, some of the things that they're working on with what it would be called the Water Stop sneaker. Celeste, what are some of the ideas that went into this so far?
Yeah. Actually, we had a completely different design to begin with. So it was actually a really big process, because we went into it and we didn't really know what to expect from the first meeting. At least I know that I didn't. And so I came out of that meeting, and I had just met Allende like one other time, and it's really nice working with him and seeing like his creative process, especially since I like to do art, but I don't really consider myself to be an artist in that sense, like Allende is. But yeah, we kind of brainstormed and we gave our ideas to Danny, and it actually was going to be a little bit more running based. So it was going to be figures running and then maybe like a skyline behind it. But then we kind of went back a little bit back and forth like through email, and we came to the conclusion that it didn't really fit. And there was another design too. I had initially said maybe let's do like some hands to represent like mentorship and stuff, but given like the space that we have and also like what we're trying to say, I think it went a lot more than just it was a lot more than just youth mentorship. So I think Allende came up with the idea of the water ice cup, if I'm not mistaken. And we were like, okay, Danny gave us some ideas of like, okay, like maybe we can do like a little icon, especially since the space is so small. And then we had previously already thought of the idea of doing like a color blocked map, which is on the other picture. But I usually use watercolors, so I did that. And yeah, I don't know if Allende wants to say something else.
Yeah, yeah, and that's where I was going to go to Allende there in terms of let's talk about the water stop perspective, the water ice. Now, let me make sure I say this correctly because I've been in Philly about a year and a half now, and when I first got here, I was asking people, places I should go, and they said you should get some water ice. I don't know how to say it. But at first I was saying water ice Allende, and they were looking at me kind of funny, like, no, we can tell you're not from here. So the water stop in the water ice perspective there, just describe that, and as we look at the sneaker right now, just give us your breakdown of just what you guys have so far.
You said, how do you say it? You say it.
Now, see, water ice. I try to say it now. So here goes me trying to say water ice.
I think you gotta look how it's spelled. Like, look, it's like wooder ice. I'm not even a Philly native. I'm from Chicago, but that's the best way I learned how to say it, wooder ice. And if you spell it out Wooder, that's I think the easiest way to say it. But don't ask me. Ask one of the Philly natives for sure.
Yeah. So Allende.
So yeah, I'm not going to judge you. You know what I mean? I know you from Memphis. So I got your own but it's close. But the way we say it in Philly is kind of crazy too, because we're saying water, like it's WARTER. But technically it's water ice, but in Philly it's water ice.
Right. So just show us the breakdown here of in this photo with the sneaker what we have.
Oh, this is crazy. Am I
we're having a little
all right, so with the shoe, so again, it's hold on. Let me all right, plan B.
Yeah, so the big thing about the water stop theme is Students Run is involved in all the races in Philadelphia, and at every race there's water stops, right? So you have our students staffing these water stops. They're the liveliest, they're the most exciting, and they're for runners to stop and get a refreshment. And often that refreshment is the water, and it's poured in the same kind of solo cup that you see here, your traditional Philly style water ice cup. And so we're really involved in all the water stops. Water central to our program. You need it in running. We always need access to it. We also have a fun race called the Scoop and Loop where we serve water ice, which Celeste can get into. So you run, and every lap you do on Lemon Hill in Fairmount Park, you got to take a scoop of water ice, and you get a little notch on a popsicle. So that's kind of a nod to that Scoop and Loop race that we do. And then the Insoles is that Celeste did, that beautiful map, is the Schuylkill River Trail. And so that's where students log a lot of their miles with their mentors running along that trail. So each of these, water features, so to speak, has a direct tie to Students Run into the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah. So how long Allende. I think we have Allende back now.
Yeah, I'm good now. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying, we had some initial design ideas that me and Celeste did, but I think we were like going very like deep into it to make it very specific, like running specific. And Danny provided some good feedback to us, and was like, let's keep it simple, let's keep it real Philly, and incorporate the water. And being from Philly, like water ice is a staple in the community, especially amongst the young people. Especially amongst students from Philly style. So it was like, all right, cool. Let me just literally do a water ice. And then also, we looked at some other shoes. When you see like Air Force Ones, like the, I forget the brand, but they use like the pigeon. I think might be a Staple is a design, like a company that did something like that. But a lot of shoes are just using like an icon kind of on that side profile, and it was like, all right, I looked up, make sure nobody has ever done this, and it's really an original design idea that that's incorporated to this shoe, which is again a super Philly, super relatable. I think the color is good, and
Yeah. So this, I guess, would be for Danny. How far along are you guys in the process now, and what's an expectation for when the shoe can be bought, by people?
Yeah, definitely. So just to get in the weeds a little bit with the sneaker customization process, we were all kind of new at it, but have learned a lot through the process. And so this is what they call like an aftermarket customization. So Diadora manufactures this game high sneaker silhouette, right? The one you see on the screen. And so that's manufactured in Italy, and we're doing some customization to it after. And so the tongue tag, if you can bring that picture up, I don't know if we have it, has like our logo there. So we're only able to kind of customize certain things aftermarket, and one is the logo on the heel, which is the water ice cup. The second is the color of the shoelace. The third is the woven tag. So that tag, you imagine it's like stitched in. So they're going to take it off and then weave in our SRPS, Students Run Philly style logo. And on the reverse of that, 2004, which was the year that we were founded. And then, of course, kind of the masterpiece of the whole shoe is that insole of the Schuylkill River, as Philly, kind of a city between two rivers with the Schuylkill and the Delaware on the other side, super central to the city. And so that's kind of Celeste's twist on her experience running around, in inside that river the whole time. And so that's kind of what we're looking at for like a post sneaker. Our hope is to do this every single year and to create a ton of buzz, kind of like a Jordan drop on a sneakers app. And we have a lot of cool things we can talk about later that's planned for that. But eventually would be to create our very own silhouette of a shoe and not have to do the aftermarket. So this is kind of just showing proof of concept. And, hopefully this year we get a ton of support from the Philly sneaker community with this sale, and we can kind of build our own shoe even more custom next year.
Okay. And we'll get to the insoles, and then please, audience, if you have any questions, drop them in, and we'll start answering the questions. So let's talk about the insole here. Allende, describe what the idea, what the process was there. Allende, do we have you? I think we lost Allende again. Oh, we could go ahead and jump to some questions that we have coming in from the readers here. One question says, "The soles are fire. Will those maintain their colors as the students wear them?" So,
yeah, great question. So the first thing I want to talk about, so these aren't manufactured for our students. These aren't running shoes. They're casual high top sneakers. And so these are meant to be streetwear, just casual. It is not a running shoe. This is like, think of like a high top Jordan. It is a casual sneaker meant to wear. So it's not going to have that like necessarily rubbing off that you'd see if you were running with a sneaker. And so this is a limited drop. I'm seeing some questions come in. So there's only 200 pairs we're making. And just as a special thank you to listeners today, we wanted to do a pre-order of some of the sneakers. We're only making 200 right now of this specific run. So people can purchase them through the link that will drop in here soon. And all proceeds from the sneaker go directly to the youth mentorship program, and you can purchase them directly through us.
Yeah, so there you have it. We saw there was another question that came in that said, Are the shoes limited just for the students, or can people purchase them at retail? So it sounds like Danny just said that they're available for purchase for anyone, but they're limited in terms of there will only be 200 pairs available. Going forward, Danny, just with the future process, I know you just touched on it a little bit there of wanting to eventually maybe branch out and do your own shoe, and maybe even not limiting it to 200 in the future. Just what are some of those ideas that you guys have discussed?
Yeah, I mean, our hope right now is we put that link up there. I know it's going to stay on the Inquirer Live page. So you can click on it and pre-order right away. So our hope is like after this call at 5:30, everyone buys us out and we have to do a whole nother size run before we even start making it, right? So I think the sky's the limit for us. We have really great partners that we're working with. And so I know the Philly sneaker community is a really generous community. They want their sneaks to look good, but I think they could also support a good cause with us as well. And I think with the Philly Philly sneaker, you can do both with us. And so once that gets up there, you can order. Pickup stuff's going to kind of be determined, but our idea is to have these cool sneaker drops. I'm sure a lot of our listeners are familiar with like the Nike sneakers app, right? It's like the holy grail of sneakers apps. And what's cool about sneakers more than how they look sometimes is the story and the design that goes behind them, right? And so that's what this sneaker is all about for us. And so we're going to try to turn it into that as well in terms of the thrill of the chase. And lots of times sneakerheads try to get their sneakers, and like the best part of getting the sneaker is how you got it, right? You stood in line for 2 hours, you waited and you hit on the sneakers app. And so we're going to be partnering with some cool institutions. One of them is Sadiq's Water Ice in West Philly. A water ice institution. They make great water ice, but Sadiq's even a better man for the community and what he does. And so we look for partners like that. So thinking about doing a drop where you have to be at Sadiq's Water Ice during these hours to be able to get the shoe. P's and Q's sneaker shop on South Street. They're going to be a great partner with us in this program, doing a pop-up sneaker release with them. Philadelphia Runner, which is a running shoe store and has been with us since the onset and has been a huge supporter of Students Run and allow us to grow to where we are today, doing some sneaker releases at their store as well with this shoe. So we have a lot of cool things planned for all those sneakerheads out there that are looking for a really limited edition sneaker, but also want to support youth mentorship in it.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's see if we can get Allende back in with us here. All right. So we were talking about the soles and the insoles before Allende previously left. Well, yeah. So all right. So Celeste, let's talk about the insole process from your perspective, then. Just if you can talk about just how that process came together and just what the image, what do we see with the imagery?
Yeah, it was actually originally going to be in the back of the heel. That was the design for that. But then we kind of changed it, and Danny and Allende actually generously said that they wanted me to have a bigger canvas to work on. So they allowed me to have that space on the insole, which was pretty cool. But I don't know. I've seen like other color block designs, and I thought it was pretty cool too. Like seeing as how the Schuylkill River represents a lot of like running people, and a lot of people go there to run, not just people when students run. And there's even like a Schuylkill Trail specifically for people who are running or walking or biking. And so, yeah, I think that's a really big part of people, especially like near Center City or even in like North Philly. People there that they use the trail and it's accessible to them, so they can stay active all the time. And I think it really just speaks to the community in itself, not just the students run community, but the running community as well. And so, yeah, I thought that it would be cool to color block it just because there's so many little spaces on the map representing houses and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought that it would be cooler to show the full map in itself, but also like add something else so it just wouldn't be a map. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that just goes to show. I mean, for the listeners here, you see how much goes into the imaginary process of making a sneaker. I mean, it's a lot, and you have to be really creative. We have some really creative people on today. Speaking of those creative people, Allende just joined back in with us. Allende, just I was just speaking with Celeste about the insole. Just take us back through what you're gonna say about the insole process and describe that.
All right, cool, perfect. Yeah, I want to speak because earlier Celeste was saying like I'm an established kind of artist or an active artist, and she said she didn't consider herself to be that way. But I've been in education for like 15 years. I was an art teacher for about 6. So I've seen many students, have talented students who didn't call themselves artists, but as soon as I kind of like spoke some positivity into their talent, they produce these amazing things. So this is a prime example of that kind of moment where again Celeste was like, kind of, I don't want to describe who you like how you were, but if I could, I would just say kind of like shy in a sense as an artist, which is understandable. A lot of people are like that. But when I finally saw her work, it was a watercolor. You know what I mean? It was like some cards she showed me when we first had our call. And I'm just like, it was quick, but I saw it and I immediately could recognize that she just has this very natural talent, So Danny had the idea with kind of incorporating a map into it somewhere. And I was like, oh, you know what? It'd be crazy if she painted it. If she actually did like a watercolor painting of the Schuylkill map. And then I just digitized it and then put it to the shoe. And at first it was kind of like small in the back, but then, I was looking at it and I realized like, our feet, the what do you say, the curvage of our feet is kind of like, you see how it kind of follows the river, the same direction or the same shape in a sense. So I thought it would be cool to, do that, flip it. And I'm just like very symmetrical as an artist in general. And I just think it's very iconic, that she did this, and this is what we're producing,
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing. How long have you guys? I mean, Celeste, Allende, either of you. How long have you been working on this project, and just like how much time has went into this?
Go ahead. You can say Celeste.
Well, actually, I don't know. I had to be a couple of weeks. Because we had, so we kind of, I think we started it a little bit late too, because we were waiting to hear back from Diadora and stuff. And it's just like, it's not just us working on it. So we don't just have a say in what happens. So we were also waiting on them. And then it's also like, Allende's in Mexico, which is pretty cool. And then we're all the way over here. So it's like a whole different time zone.
Yeah.
So yeah, it took a while to plan out, but eventually we got together. And I think within like a week or two, we had like the designs, and then after like, I think in the 3rd week, we sent it out to Diadora.
Yeah. Yeah, it was I'd say it was very organic, like working with Celeste and just, and Danny, just very natural. The idea was already there. It was just kind of like, organizing it where it made sense. It was super, super fun to do it.
And to take it back even further, like this process and conversation started with the custom sneaker 2 years ago. And so to get this kind of stuff to market and to process even on a small scale, the custom design process takes a really long time, but the fruits of labor are worth it, kind of, as you can tell so far. And so we're really excited that we'll have our first sample sneaker in a couple of weeks. And like I mentioned before, doing a real cool photo shoot with the shoe at Sadiq's Water Ice in West Philly. And so we're hoping to have that first batch of 200 sneakers done by the end of the fall. And so take that for you. I don't have an exact date. You'll learn in the sneaker world, you can't give an exact date. Even on the sneakers app in Jordan, they'll say they'll drop July 15th and they push it back to November 1st. But that's, again, like part of the thrill of everything about sneakers and getting your hands on them. It's the story, the production, and everything that goes into it. And that's kind of what you have to appreciate once you're wearing them.
Yeah, so there you have it, viewers. The shoe expected to drop sometime towards the end of the fall. So, I mean, as Danny just said, sneakers, I mean, it's a little bit of a process. Sometimes you think a shoe is dropping in June and it's August and you're waiting like, I thought the shoe was supposed to drop June 8th. So that happens, but we'll see. Of course, once the Student Runs Philly style sneaker is gonna drop, we'll probably have a story up around that time, around the time of the drop as well. But let's okay, so we're gonna put the link here. The show that the audience can sign up for the pre-order of the shoe down below. Danny, just speak more on the pre-order process for the audience here, but we're gonna be putting the link down below in a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So the pre-order is they're $200 each a sneaker. Again, 100% of the proceeds go back to our youth mentorship program for students run as a fundraiser. Right now, we're not doing a shipping option. It's local pickups only. So if you purchase a sneaker, we're going to have these sneaker drop and sneaker release parties at different locations throughout Philadelphia. Sneaks, P's and Q's, Philadelphia runner stores, where you'd be able to pick up your sneaker that you pre-ordered and purchase. So as long as you buy that and it goes through, I'll have your email address and we'll keep you updated on the exact date and time that you can pick up that sneaker. And again, like a pre-order gives you access to those sneaker release parties as well, where you can meet Allende, Celeste. I'll be there, but no one wants to meet me. You want to meet the artist because that's the cool part of it. And so that's the idea. And if you have questions, follow us on Instagram is a great way. Students Run PHL, or just type Students Run Philly into Instagram. Follow us. We'll be posting all sneaker updates there. Same with Allende on Instagram. Celeste, I know you're there, but I'm not going to shout out your personal one right now. But that's kind of the way to keep in touch with us. We're super excited and got a lot planned for the fall for the sneaker.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. So we have more questions coming in. This one is for Celeste. It says, were there any other symbols of Philly you'd like to include on future sneaker drops?
Yeah, I don't know. One of the ideas that I thought for this shoe was like something like to do with 76, because the 76ers and 1976, very special moment for Philly. And I don't know, just like maybe the living felt, different stuff, experimenting with different stuff. It all just depends on what like the thought process is, because I know that I draw a lot of inspiration from like, okay, like what do people want, or like what does this specific person want? What are they asking for a design? So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know. It would all just depend. Everything depends on the future.
Right. It's a supply and demand economy out here. So you're listening to what the demand of the people is. So I get it. Just Danny, let's talk about the future, since that last question was about future sneaker drops. This sneaker seems to focus more on style. Is there a chance potentially that you've had any discussions about maybe a running sneaker?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's something we'd certainly be interested in doing, especially for our students, and having everything we do is youth driven. And so honoring that youth voice and making youth at the center of all of our decisions and making sure their voices are heard are super important. So we'd love to incorporate that into the sneaker, the running sneaker that our students are actually running with. And so I think the idea would be stick with a casual sneaker that we drop every year. Again, make that buzz like a Jordan drop and really get the Philly sneaker community excited, but then also have one that we're, tailored to running and more athletic, and that's not as casual streetwear. I think that would be a natural next step for us as well.
Yeah, sounds good.
I think to go with that too, and I didn't mention it, was like we plan to drop an apparel collection too, so some sweatshirts and beanies that have those same sort of water ice logos and embroidered logo and stuff like that. So we're in the works to make a kind of a whole capsule, as they call it, like in the industry. So you have your beanie, you have your hoodie, and you have your water stop sneaker as well. So we plan to have those kind of assets to go along with the sneaker too.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, Allende, for you, just in terms of, because I know you don't solely work, on sneakers, as in your artistry work. So just describe how working on a sneaker compares to some of the other things that you've done.
How does it compare? It's cool. It's just like less intense, like I've done like 1,500 square foot like murals, and design clothing lines for people, did events. I'm a musician. I'm recording music, play a bunch of instruments. So the sneak was it was just fun. It was like super fun, kind of playful, but also intentional, because this project specifically because it's tailored to youth mentorship. And like I said, I've been in education for like 15 years. And, you know, working with the youth is super important to me and just super important to the world in general. So I'm just thankful that I was able to design a shoe, but for like a good, you know, a very good cause.
Yeah. Sounds good. And just, I mean, while we're on the topic here, just what are some of the other projects that you've worked on just in recent memory?
I just did a collaboration with Urban Outfitters in the Enterprise Center in West Philly. I designed a tote bag to raise money for the 52nd Street initiative that the Enterprise Center is kind of spearheading. And I did a like a pop up at Urban Outfitters on Center City down on 17th and Walnut. I'm recording a music project, and like Celeste said, I'm in Mexico, so I'm kind of like doing shows. I'm performing different shows. I got a show tonight that I'm doing. That's just cool. But yeah, it's constantly evolving. And I'm coming up. I'm doing a mural in the international airport in Philly for like the last week of September through the first week of October, and then that'll be up for like 6 months.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. And since we're speaking on this artistry here, Celeste, just for you, because I noticed when I first moved to Philly a year and a half ago, I was asking people, what are things that I can do, and so many of the things were centered around art. So it just made me, realize that this is a very artistic city. And for someone, like you, how has the artistic side of this city impacted you, being like a student artist working on a project like this?
Yeah. I don't know. I think I've always had a creative brain or like a creative side of me. I've always enjoyed just like making small things for like family members for them to appreciate. And it wasn't really until a couple of years ago that I really started getting into it. Like I've always known that I've had a passion for art, but it's never really been it's been more of a hobby than a job per se or like a profession. But I do know that I want like to do something with that in my career as well. So I think just being in a city where like there's so much history and stuff, it also influences with what, oh, okay, I want my art to be a certain way, or I want this to be this way. And just like the people that are around you too, because I don't know, my family's really creative too. So they influence me a lot. And just the people that you meet every day. So yeah.
Yeah. All right, Danny, as we get ready to wrap it up here soon, what can you tell us just about the future of Students Run Philly Style and the projects that you're working on and this sneaker?
Absolutely. So I think the first thing in September that's coming up for Students Run, and the next big thing is the Philadelphia Distance Run. And so we are co-owners of that event. It's going to be the first large half marathon back post-pandemic, and we're going to do it safely on September 19th. So lots of our students and mentors will be running along, the Schuylkill and along Center City to do that. So check out Philadelphia Distance Run to sign up and support us and run that race. And then, keep a lookout in the fall. That pre-order link for the sneaker should be live on the page. Follow us, Students Run Philly, on Instagram, and just keep abreast of what we're doing in the sneaker release parties that we're doing. And those are what we're up to this fall.
Sounds good. Thank you, Celeste Allende, Danny, for joining us here on Inquirer Live. Appreciate you all for joining us as we talked about this upcoming project with Students Run Philly Style. As Danny just mentioned, the sneaker could be dropping sometime in the fall. You have Celeste, the student artist here. You have Allende, who's an artist as well from Philly, from West Philly in particular. And they've worked on this project for over a couple of weeks, and it's all coming together. So thank you guys for joining Inquirer Live. And I'll mention one more time that the pre-order link is live on the page. So pre-order the shoe, and you'll be one of the special people who have a good chance of getting the shoe. As we mentioned earlier, it's limited edition, so it's going to be 200 pairs sold initially. So you have the link down there, $200, and it's all yours. So thank you guys for watching it. And thank you as well, Danny, Celeste, and Allende, for joining us today. And that'll wrap it up for us on Inquirer Live. This is that'll wrap it up for us today on Inquirer Live. This is our styling and profiling episode with Damichael Cole here, our sports culture and style reporter. So thank you guys for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.